Well, hello again, and welcome to another Hyperion podcast. Welcome to the first ever live Hyperion podcast. Michelle, I'm so excited.
Here we are. My heart is pounding.
We had to get the defibrillator out here for a little bit here. She was getting a very nervous, very excited. But here we are. We couldn't be happier to be with you. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who are joining us today, our first ever live show. We are nervous, but we are excited to share this time with you. Right, Michelle?
Yeah. I mean, you've had some experience doing the morning show, so that's great. And hopefully I can live up to the task.
You've been on the morning show. You've done it.
Oh, that's true. I guess I've made little appearances.
So thank you. I see Donna's here. Hi, Donna. Good to see you here. Thank you for joining us. Everybody, so a little bit of housekeeping for this. This is our Ask Us Anything show, so we want you to ask us anything as we go on. Hi, Marianne. Good to see you here as well. We do have a few questions that were asked to us off the air. We will go through those during the show as well. We do have some prizes to give away, right, Michelle?
We do. We're going to do some drawings of everybody who asks questions. So whether you asked them prior and sent them in to us, or you're going to do it live, you're going to be in the drawings.
Yes. So know that going in. We've got some stuff to give away. If you do happen to win one of these prizes, if we do select you out of the hat, then you stick around or let us know. Send us a note of how to contact you so we can get your information so we can get those prizes to you. Hello, Donna. We got our second Donna here. Donna, there's two Donna S's. Donna C. We'll call you Donna C. There, Charles from the Conversations podcast.
Hey,
good to see you, Charles. Anybody over on Instagram, by the way, if you ask a question over on Instagram, I cannot bring you up on the screen. I cannot bring your question up. I will look over here at the screen so I can see your question. We will read it, but I cannot bring them up. YouTube and Facebook is where, if you want your question actually posted, that is where you can do it. But I see you over there, Magical Disney Dad. Thanks for coming over. Lori and George are here. Hey, good to see you guys. So good to see you. So I know what my favorite thing from this week is going to be. It's going to be this show, Michelle. I don't know about you. Michelle always has the best my favorite thing for this week, so I have to check with her first.
Yeah. Well, it's still early in the week, but this is definitely in the running.
Yeah. I'm glad it's in the running. No, this is going to be fun, guys. Again, bear with us. First ever live show, but we will have some fun with your questions, with some answers. If you want to follow up on any questions, get asked. If we have an answer and you're like, wait a minute, what does that mean? Or something comes up, send them in the comments here. We'll be going through them for sure. So let's go ahead and get to it. Michelle, I think we'll start with some questions that were submitted offline from some of our listeners there. Michelle's got that list.
Okay, so let's go with the first question from Sue in the UK. And she did apologize for not being able to attend. But so here's one of her questions. She said, if there are any of the original OG members of the Hyperion Adventures that are still listeners or viewers, do we know that?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
The OG, for those of you who weren't here, and I had forgotten about this, I'll be honest with you, until Sue brought this up not that long ago. For those of you who listened to this when we first started the show, we were like, you know what? We want to recognize the people that are with us from the start. We called you the Hyperion, OG Hyperion adventurers. And as it happens in 6-7 years of doing this show, some things come, some things go. And unfortunately, that was something that kind of went by the wayside. And I'd kind of forgotten about again until Sue brought that up. But we do have some that I can think of. I think that we have like, I want to say like
Dan
was one. Amy was one. Rob and Kim, Ryan. I think Camille and Jonathan were there, at least if not at the beginning, pretty close.
Yeah. Abigail.
So those are some of the OGs that we actually, I feel bad that that's kind of gone by the wayside. I think I need to go back and listen to those early episodes again, as scary as that can be sometimes.
I know, terrifying.
And kind of go through and find that list. Maybe for our anniversary show, we can break out the OG list that we can think of.
Yeah, I think we should go back and listen to some of those, put ourselves through that, and find out some of those OGs and, honor them at our anniversary show. I do want to say, though, since Sue, not only did she point it out, but she went back from the beginning and listened to all of our episodes. So we're going to make her an honorary OG member. I think we're going to give her a certificate.
A certificate.
And I'm going to be sending her some of these cool little
some of our annual pass magnets.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh man.
Dumbo.
We have another hey, don't we? I don't want to get rid of hey.
Yes. Because we each get some.
Oh yeah. I forget. It's late for me. We do have a couple of questions here from people in the chat.
Okay.
Let's go to Donna C here. Here she asks, I'd love to know how you manage to balance your time. You do so much. Do you have a system? Sort of. I'd say sort of. We have a system.
Yeah.
I mean, we know when we're going to record every week. Michelle does a really good job with the calendar, right, Michelle?
Yeah. I usually try to have several months in advance, usually 3 to 4. Sometimes some of our episodes we know even further in advance. So we keep a running calendar that we're doing that, and we can make adjustments as things go along. What I can say is, and I've learned from Tom, he's much more skillful at this, but he is definitely a creature of habit.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And so having that, methodology of doing kind of the routines of things makes it easier, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just plotting things out. I mean, and there are times when we're trying to get notes together. I'm scrambling to the last minute, and my tips. Usually my tips, Michelle does good at trying to find tips. That's why she always has the best tips. Me, half the time I go into an episode without a tip, and I just try and think of something on the fly.
Oh, I never could tell that.
You can never tell. I know. But that's kind of how it goes. So some things are time management wise are good. Other things kind of we got to kind of figure it out. But thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. How about Charles from the Conversations podcast? His first question. Oh boy. What is each of your Star Wars fandom origin story? Let's start with you on the answer for that one, Michelle. What is your fandom origin story?
My fandom origin story, I guess, has to be seeing my very first Star Wars movie with my older brother, and just being blown away at what that world and universe was. And I was close with my brother, and he has unfortunately passed away, but he and I loved things like that, and I know I was glad he invited me to go with him to see it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, what about you?
For me, I went with my mother, 1977, seeing this movie Star Wars for the first time in the theater. Yes, I am that old. Yes. And just instantly fell in love with it. Saw multiple times. Even had the chance to go see it at Grauman's Chinese Theater,
the
Chinese theater in Hollywood at some point. Not my first time I saw it, but during its initial run, I did get that chance. Saw it multiple times. Fell in love with it, and just continued ever since. So. Really, really easy. Why don't we get back to one of yours? Let's go back to Sue again. I think she's got some more questions for us.
So Sue had a couple other ones. She said, if you could both work for Disney, what would be your chosen roles?
My turn to go first this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there's always the easy answer of like you want to be the Jungle Cruise skipper or whatever, but I'm just not funny enough at all to do that.
Actually, I think you'd be great at
No,
that.
I would not. I'd be terrible at it. Probably for me, it'd be something doing with sound. Whether it be a sound engineer for some of the stage shows, or I actually did apply at one point. They had a positioning within Imagineering for somebody who has worked in sound, and I did put in an application, but they never filled that position. At least that's what they told me. I'm going to go with that they just didn't shoot me down completely. But something dealing with sound, because that was my career when I was in radio. I worked with sound. I got awards for working with sound. And it's really kind of just a joy to me working with sound. I don't get to do it as much as I used to, but really, and it's one of my favorite things to do. So that would probably be what I'd want to do. What about you, Michelle?
Well, I think for me, I would love to be in the Imagineering department. I think that would be cool. I love projects and project management, timelines, things like that. I love that. But if that couldn't happen, I wouldn't mind being Minnie Mouse.
Minnie Mouse. About the side, and you're definitely as cute as Minnie Mouse, and as fashionable as well as Minnie Mouse, for sure. Very good. I like it. Okay, I got one here from the other Donna S. She says, "How did you meet, Donna?" I don't know if we have enough time in this episode for that whole story, but we can kind of do our best with it, Michelle.
All right. So my sister and I were trying to prepare to go to Vegas, along with my brother-in-law, to play live blackjack at a real table, play blackjack. And we had, studied the odds and how to play and everything, but we just felt like, hey, we need to do something live so that, we're not as awkward or uncomfortable at the table. So we found a gaming site that you could do interactive for free, no real money, blackjack. And we did that. And lo and behold, at that table was Tom. And we ended up
like on Yahoo or something like
Yahoo.
that.
And we were chatting. I was talking with my sister. I had my headphones. I was talking to my sister and chatting with Tom and everything like that. And then another time we did it, and it happened again. He ended up at our table. And then as things went on, we started connecting and calling and talking to each other. And it just became something that we realized we both had a lot in common and really enjoyed each other.
I was in California. She was in Florida. So we weren't anywhere near one another. I was actually, at that time, I was one of the studio engineers for the San Diego Padres. So what that means is that I would handle basically making sure everything ran for the pre and post game show. And also during the game, I would be in contact from the studio with the people that are out there at the ballparks running it on their end. And there's a lot to do during the pregame, and there's a lot to do during the postgame. During the game, I'm mostly just waiting for an inning to end or a pitching change to do something. So I spent a lot of time playing blackjack and other things online. And that's when we would just happen to connect while we were doing that. So that's kind of how that happened.
Yeah.
So,
that is rest in a nutshell.
Is history.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Back to some of Sue's questions there, or many, many questions that Sue had.
All right. She said, you're on a long car journey, which you have done. What band, artist, or music are you listening to?
Well, that depends. For me, and I've been on many, many car journeys for many, many hours, as some of you know, over the last several years. And that would kind of just depend on what mood I am. Sometimes I feel like listening to podcasts. I listen to a lot of our friends' podcasts, including Charles, the Conversations podcast. There's plenty of other podcasts that I enjoy. If I would go, my fallback would probably be 80s music. I'm very much I'm a child of the 80s. I'm a big 80s music fan as well. But if I was going to go, maybe sometimes it might be some Grateful Dead. I'm a big Deadhead. I love the Grateful Dead. Listen to them. Hamilton, the Hamilton soundtrack was always big for me as well. It just kind of depends what mood I'm in. I'm very eclectic in what music I like. I like everything from fairly hard music to show tunes, and light music and soft rock. So it's across the board. What about you, honey?
Yeah, kind of similar. I mean, obviously, podcast is something that is it. And if I'm driving, it might be different than if I'm just passenger. I do like the Billie Eilish station on Pandora. I think I love the type of music, but I have to admit some of that can make me drowsy because it's still kind of on the soft side. So I think similar to you, I think I'd probably go with the Hamilton soundtrack and just kind of belt it out loud and keep myself awake that way.
And of course, there's always Disney songs. We always have
yes.
Disney songs
Yeah.
on in the house, and we would have them on in the car as well.
Right.
No question on that. That's obviously a default. Here's one from Nicole. Who is your favorite extended family member? That's Michelle's niece, Nicole.
So I think this one's you, right? Oh no, maybe it's me.
We love them all equally.
We do.
Equally. I don't know who's out there that's watching, so all equally.
We do.
And
we also have a lot of found family.
Of
that
course,
we're very much
100%.
With,
Speaking of that, Charles has another question for us. He says, my second question, you already touched upon it with your radio background. If you were in charge of a new podcast audio drama division of Disney, which movie would you choose to produce? Oh, wow. A new audio drama. That's interesting. Let me think about that. You have anything that you can think of?
I don't. I mean, I do think Star Wars leads it.
Star Wars kind of the melodrama of Star Wars kind of leads into it.
Yeah.
I was trying to go a little bit off of that. Well, I think something involving some of the Avengers movies where you're getting maybe not like Endgame when you get so many of them, but you get so many different voices and interesting things that happen. I think that some of the Marvel films might be kind of fun and interesting to do a radio drama type of version of, especially if you can get some really good voice actors that can simulate some of the ones you've seen in the films, or actually get some of them, as like we've seen in like the What If series, where they actually get some of those actual actors from the series or from the films to do those voiceover work.
Surprised you didn't say Frozen, honey. I think everybody's surprised you didn't say Frozen.
It's true. All right. Well, what else you got there, Michelle?
Well, we have a couple more from Sue, but I'm going to jump over to Marianne, who wrote, if you could pick one appetizer, one entree, one dessert from Walt Disney World, what would you pick?
One appetizer, one entree, and it
could be from different places. Yeah. So it's not like all at the same place. She said you can.
They have to be from Walt Disney World. Like I can't pick Disney Cruise.
No, she said Walt Disney World.
Because my favorite dessert's on Disney Cruise. So from Walt Disney World, for an appetizer, I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe that charcuterie board from the Territory Lounge, the one that is super meat heavy.
That is amazing.
That is really, really good. That might be that or the bread service at Sanaa, I think. Well, those are two of my. For my entree, I'm going with the vegetarian, the cruise, what used to be known as Stew's Cruise Stew, the kind of curry stew that's at Skipper Canteen.
Right.
Love that. That is one of my favorite dishes anywhere. Dessert's tough. Why don't you go ahead and go with yours? I need to think about dessert.
Yeah, because I know dessert is something, because we typically don't have dessert. We're usually pretty full by then. So similar to you, I think I would say the bread service at Sanaa. I love a whole fried fish, and I know Tiffin's has never been disappointing in that entree. However, that with the different size or sauces that they serve with it, and one of the desserts that I know we've tried that we like is that seven layer cake at the top of the world.
Top of the World Lounge. Yeah, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah,
it's hard. That's tough to beat. That might be. I guess I'm gonna default here and just go to a good old Mickey bar.
There you go.
Go to a good old Mickey bar for my dessert.
Nice.
I'm not as much into the fancy desserts. So you know what? I'll go with. It's not really a dessert, but I'm gonna go with brunch cotton. Those darn cinnamon roll bites that they have there it's not really dessert, but it's very dessert-ish.
Yes.
So I think I'll go with that because those things are phenomenal. They're dangerously phenomenal. So good. Let's see. Charles has another one here, I think. And why would Tom choose Frozen? And why is Michelle? Charles, I didn't choose Frozen. I didn't. Donna C has something here. If you could redo a Disney villain with a live action comedic actor, which villain and actor would you choose? Who? I think you go first on this one.
Oh, do I?
Yes. I got to think about it.
Okay. So tell me it again. If I do a live.
If you could redo a Disney villain with a live action comedic actor, which villain and actor would you choose?
I always find Ursula really interesting, and I think that would kind of be a fun. And I think she has a wit about her. But which actor to put her with? That's a really good question.
Yeah, it's really a thinker here.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So this one's tough. This one, you have a stump, Donna.
I know.
You have a stumped on this one. Let's see here. So can we talk about Anna and Elsa's father? And how I'm the only one who thinks that he's the real villain of Frozen. Gosh, I would go with him, I think, just because no one thinks of him as a villain. And I think you could get somebody interesting to play him. But who? So did she say it was a live action comedic actor? So comedic actor.
I wonder if Gaffigan could do Ursula.
Oh man, you have a stump.
Yeah,
this is really, really
one.
good.
That's a good one.
Comedic actor. Yeah, I don't know if I could go with comedy for that one.
Yeah, no.
Maybe I'll go with something like shoot. Let me come back to that one, Donna. Let's think about that one. That's a thinker. Okay, if we come back to that one, Donna, I feel like I'm stalling the show here because we're stumped on that one. But we'll get back to that one. Man, that might be worth a prize just for the one that stumped us.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, I was debating on Jafar, Donna. I agree with you there.
Oh,
That's a possibility for sure. For sure. Let's think about that one. We'll get back to it. We'll circle back to it. I promise. Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay. Jonathan, Camille, and Lorelei submitted a couple. So the first one is, what is one of the funniest moments you've had either filming an episode or working on one?
So I think the most funny moment that I can recall, and not necessarily when we were doing a show, but when we've done a couple of those silly promos.
I was wondering if you were going to say
we haven't done them in a while. We've done these couple silly promos. And one of them we were filming out at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And how we did it, it was like in front of the Hyperion Theater, and it was a whole thing of like, I'm going to go record our show because it's the Hyperion Theater. So I would run up, and then Michelle was running behind me saying, honey, wait. And so she filmed me, and then I was filming her. And as I was filming her twice while we were recording different edits of it, somebody turned around and said, yes, can I help you? Or whatever, thinking that she was calling them honey. Yeah, it was really, it was pretty darn funny to me.
It was
pretty funny. Let me see. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think some of the funniest stuff that happens probably should record our show 5 minutes before we actually start, because some of the funniest stuff that happens is 5 minutes before we actually go on the air. I keep telling Michelle I'm gonna hit record early and put together a little sound bite of all the funny stuff that happens before the show. But that's kind of some of the funny stuff that happens.
That is.
Go ahead and you do yours, and I got one more too.
Okay, so I think the funniest, the one show that I can remember that I laughed at so much, and I had to look up which episode it was. So it was episode 117, and that was when we had Pat and Charles from Conversation and you all had to pitch an idea for a Star Wars series that you want to see get made for Disney Plus, and the creativity was out of this world. If you haven't listened to episode 117, you have to. It is just incredibly funny.
Was it that far back? 117?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was one of those things. It was so funny that I do remember really my cheeks were burning from laughing and smiling so much. So that was I remember that one distinctly.
That was good. I think my other one, which is also, it was funny, but also kind of embarrassing, was when we had Frank and Jen on from Dilla's Diz. And Michelle, who is the game show hostess with the mostest, tried to ask us trivia questions. And all three of us failed. The questions weren't even that difficult.
No, they were. I've reviewed them again. That
we
was terrible.
Failed miserably. Like, it was embarrassing. Every time you could ask a question, we would be like, I don't know. Oh, it was terrible. It was so, but it in hindsight, it's hilarious at the same time.
Is it though?
Yes, it is. I find it very, very funny that happened.
Oh my
very, very
gosh.
funny. Oh my goodness. This one comes from Donna as well. The other Donna, she says, "What's your favorite Disney park?" Michelle, what's your favorite Disney park?
I have to say it's tough because there's two that I really like so close. But I am going to say Epcot. My other favorite is actually California Adventure Park. They're pretty neck and neck. But I think the thing that makes Epcot go the step above is because finding out Scott's love of Epcot.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started taking him, we would go a couple times a month, just him and I spent the day at Epcot. And now Scott, you can say to him doing anything. He can even be having fun and say, you want to go home? And yes, that's always the answer. Yes, he wants to go home, but not when he's at Epcot. At Epcot, he wants to be there all and just continue to stay.
And spend time with you.
Yeah. Well, maybe so, but I think he just likes it. I think there's a lot outdoors. There's always fun food to try. But the one time that I remember that it just melted my heart was I had told him we were going to go the next day. And so when that night, neither of us slept that well. And we got to where we were just about ready to go into the security area. And I asked him to hold something and he was like, no. And he got all grumpy and everything. And I'm like, all right, look, let's not have a bad day. Let's go home. And he's like, no. He wanted to go. So I just, all right. And we went through security, we got in and we were walking, just starting getting into the park. And he came up and he grabbed my hand and held my hand. And then he kissed me on the cheek.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell, he's nonverbal. I could just tell that was his way of saying, thank you for not, changing our mind and staying and going here. And then the rest of the day, everything was beautiful and we both had a wonderful time. And ever since then, we always have great times there.
That's great. Yeah. I know. It was interesting because we used to always think he wanted to go to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Because there's really nothing in Epcot that he will enjoy
as a ride,
mm-hmm. as an attraction to go on. So we used to, but there are a few things in Magic Kingdom. So we always thought that. But now, he just enjoys the vibe at Epcot.
He loves it.
Yeah. And the food and the lot of food he can get at Epcot.
But it's funny, some of the things that he'll like participate in there that he doesn't always participate anywhere else, like getting his picture taken by PhotoPass photographies, or he loved sitting next to the Walt statue and getting his picture there. He was all grins. So
of course it depends. You never know with Scott. Sometimes it's like everything is I'm on board for everything. Sometimes I'm on board for nothing. And a lot of times it's somewhere in between that.
Right.
Really interesting.
Anyways, but what about you? What's your favorite park?
Well, I agree with you in part that Epcot is one of my favorite parks for sure. I love, just because I think we're at a point where we love vibe more, and Epcot, it's all about vibes at Epcot, and just exploring and enjoying the time there and sampling some of the food and just walking around and enjoying it. But, I still have to go back to my old school roots that I grew up going to Disneyland. So the original Disneyland park is still my favorite park.
It is pretty good.
It's Walt's park. It's the one that he built. He's the one that actually walked around in. The attractions that he actually rode within, that's why I'll always think of Disneyland first.
Right.
Well, probably always. We'll see.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what my opinion is of it right now. We've got another one from Charles here. He says, question number 3, if you could going back to Epcot, if you could transform Epcot World Showcase into one country for one day, which one country would you choose to fill the showcase with? Michelle, I think it's my turn this time, right? So I've mentioned this before, and I now that they're going to be doing Tropical Americas in Animal Kingdom. I think it's fine, so that's good. But I always thought that South America was sadly underused. I mean, you've got everything. You've got plenty of Europe. You've got Asia. You got the United States and Canada. You've got North America. You even have a touch of Africa with Morocco there. It's not really. It's kind of a little bit more Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, but it is Africa. I'd like to see. I wouldn't mind seeing something really more African in there.
Right.
But I think something like, you could go with Colombia now that Encanto has been such a big hit. But they're doing that at Animal Kingdom. So why not go with Brazil? I think Brazil would be a party. I think you could have, Carnival there, and you could have a Brazilian steakhouse there as one of their restaurants. It would be a big hit. I think Brazil would be a fantastic, fantastic, fun country to add there. I mean, I know it's one day. I mean, sure, Carnival. Let's do it on Carnival. But yeah. I think Brazil would be an excellent addition.
Yeah, I was actually on the same wavelength with you on that, and I was thinking of how, Walt and, some of his animators went down to South America, and Brazil was one of their favorite places that they actually got to visit and tour and learn that culture and learn their type of humor and things like that. And so I think it would have that tie-in with the company history as well.
Yeah. So very much so. I think those would all work.
Yeah.
For sure. Really cool. What else you got, Michelle?
Okay. So from Jonathan and Camille, they also wrote, you've decided the Hyperion team needs to expand and you're going to add a Disney character to your show. Who are you recruiting and why?
All right. Well, you're first this time.
All right. Well, I did have time to think about this one. So I would say mine's kind of a toss-up, a tie. But I would say for the same reason, either Olaf or C-3PO. I mean, both of them are great storytellers. They're both funny. They're good at impressions. So I think they would be a great addition to our team, either of those, or maybe they could both or alternate or whatever. So that's who I would go with.
Could you imagine C-3PO and Olaf together? At any time. I mean, C-3PO gets flustered enough with poor R2-D2. What would Olaf do to poor C-3PO? Oh my goodness.
It's still better than with choppers, though.
It's true. That's funny because I was going to go with Olaf.
Oh, really?
As we all know, #Real Men Love Frozen. So I'll go with Sven. I'll go with Sven.
Okay.
I think we can kind of dictate pretty much anything he wants to say. So I could have another person on my side of the show.
There you go.
But no, I would go with Olaf. I think Olaf would tell some funny stories and have some really, really interesting, quirky things to say throughout the show.
Right.
So that's why I would go with that.
And I know I'm bringing up Scott a lot, but Scott can watch that. What is it? Olaf Presents, where Olaf is retelling some of the Disney stories. He can watch that over and over. And it's more entertaining now to watch Scott watch that because he just cracks up and loves it. So.
Yeah. Interesting. We were just not that long ago rewatching the series where they were, it's the behind the scenes series of them, how they were making Frozen 2. Mm-hmm. And that part where Olaf is telling the story wasn't in it originally. They went and did a screening and they realized that it was a little too, maybe because they wanted to kind of up it from, because it had been several years since the original Frozen. And so they wanted to do it for an audience that grew up with Frozen and maybe have a little more grown up. And when they screened it for kids, they realized that there were parts that were just kind of confusing for younger kids that they didn't understand. So they took a part out and then they added that part in, to kind of, lay the groundwork of, a lot of exposition of what's going on in the story, and plus do it in a comic way. And it was obviously brilliant.
Yeah, such a hit. Sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
for sure. We got another question from Marianne here. She says, "What was your most interesting ride evacuation?" Michelle, what is your most interesting ride evacuation?
I think I've only had one, and it was Winnie the Pooh.
Well, you got to go with that.
Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I'm pretty
Winnie the Pooh
sure.
in Disneyland, right? Or was it at Walt Disney World?
No, it was at Walt Disney World.
Magic Kingdom?
Mm-hmm, at Magic Kingdom. And I had Scott with me, so I wasn't quite sure how he was going to handle that. but he did great, and it was fine. It was very smooth. They were wonderful about everything. I think that was the only, like, we're actually on the ride. I know we've been in queues and they've had breakdowns and asked us to come back and given us, the lightning lane equivalent back then. But yeah, what about you?
Me, I have never, to the best of my knowledge, ever been evacuated from an attraction, which is kind of a little disappointing at some points. It's like there are times when I think it's going to happen, but it hasn't. So I don't have a favorite because I am one of those weird people that even though
you can stop that sentence.
It's true. That's a good point. I am one of those strange people, again, stop there, that just has not had that opportunity yet. Even though I've ridden many attractions over many years, I don't remember ever being walked off any of them at any time.
Yeah, you've been very, very lucky.
Yeah. So. I mean, I think the only time it wasn't a walk off, but it was weird. Remember we were just a couple of years ago, we were on the Matterhorn and they were doing something with the trains on the Matterhorn. And we got near the end and they took our whole train and the whole track, they had the car on the track and they lifted it up and like moved it to the side.
Yeah.
So they moved it to the side and then they could run other cars. And then they brought us back on. They're like, okay, you go again, which was kind of fun, but it was just kind of weird. We didn't ever walk off the ride. As a matter of fact, we got to ride it twice.
Right.
But that was kind of a unique experience.
Yeah.
Too.
I think there was a spacing issue. And so they had to quickly get one of the cars off the track.
Yeah.
And so while we waited, the cast member said, if y'all want, I can let you go again. And yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Do you have any more questions?
I do. Lori and George sent in one in advance. And they said, how did a radio guy and a healthcare professional have a catering company?
So it's my turn to answer this one, right? So that's a very interesting question, Lori and George. So yes, I was in radio. Michelle was in healthcare. In about 2008, something happened with the housing market and the economy in general. And I got let go from my job in radio at that point.
Yeah.
And the
radio company was laying off everybody.
They laid off a lot of people. I wasn't the only one.
Right.
And I didn't think a lot of talented people got laid off. It was from that station. And then there was another station that I was going to try and go to, and they laid off a bunch of people too. So they weren't looking to hire either. So I didn't know what I was going to do. And I had been cooking meals. Michelle liked my cooking very much. And she thought, hey, maybe you could go to culinary school and we could do something and maybe start a business. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do a restaurant. I don't want to have to do those ridiculous hours that restaurant cooks have to do because they work crazy hours. And it's, but if we started our own business, we'd be more in control of everything. So I went to culinary school. We decided with the goal of us starting this catering business. Michelle was going to handle the business aspect. I was going to handle all the cooking, the menus and everything else. And we started that and we ran it for a good 5-6 years. Had some great success with it. We had some wonderful events. We had some great reviews. We mostly focused on weddings. I also did some personal chef work during that time. But then it came to a point where we had to decide if we were going to completely go all the way in and scale this thing up with no, for sure. It's a tough business that it was going to be successful. Or I had gotten called back for a radio job. And I tried to do both for a little while. And I decided that still radio is my first love. And that's where I ended up. And, then we just ended up putting the catering business to the side. I still use a little bit of my culinary skills. Well, I did. I still plan on doing it again eventually. Eventually, I'm going to add to the Disney Dishes blog again once I find more time. It's that time management, Donna.
Yes.
Once I find more time, I'm going to start adding to that again. But we've just found other ways to use that culinary school skills.
Right. Yeah, and yes, I'm an RN, but my job mainly was more administrative. And as I mentioned earlier, I love project management. And I think that I found joy in coming together and looking at each of these events as projects and staff management and things like that. So, like Tom said, we had really good successes, but it was also, it's one of those nail biting kind of
Yes, it was
things.
always like,
You didn't
oh,
want to ruin the brides or the
yeah,
couples.
and we had to work because we were basically. I mean, I had some I had some people that I would bring in occasionally. We had some temporary people that we would bring in occasionally, and there we had a couple key staff members that would come to virtually every event. But for a lot of it, it was just the two of us doing stuff. And so the end of these events, it'd be like running a marathon every time.
Yeah.
Like we would be wiped out for a couple of days and trying to recover. So eventually it kind of wore us down, but still have joy for cooking and still
Yeah.
look back fondly with that catering time. And by the way, Michelle, even though that she would be working completely in another industry, and then she would come in and do some of these events. There were times when she would have it planned out better than the wedding planners that were working on these weddings. She would have to assist them, right, or guide them because they didn't have an idea of that's how good she was at doing that. So,
well, thank you.
if you're looking for somebody to plan your event,
it is fun.
Still Michelle. Got another question from Charles here right before bed. Okay,
All
I
right.
know you're up late, Charles. What are you
Yeah.
doing? You're usually in bed and at this point, like I am. What would be your first question to Lin-Manuel Miranda when, not if, he comes on the show? We'll be happy if he acknowledges the show.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Just acknowledge the show. But yes, if he comes on for a full-on interview first. Me first here? What took you so long? We've been selling you for years. What took you so long to come on the show? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know what I would ask him first.
I have one if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I would ask him, just kind of tell the story of how he got involved with Disney. It's something that, he's done different aspects of working with Disney and it would just be really, to me, fascinating to find that story, what that background was.
Yeah. I think I have to talk to him about Hamilton, and I have to, ask him the question. And I know it's been asked 100 times, but I still got to know. It's like, how do you decide to read this book on vacation and take it from what's basically, I mean, it's really relatively dry, but interesting, but it's relatively dry, and turn it on its ear into this musical that has touched so many lives and touched on so many musical genres, including obviously rap, but so many R&B. There's rock in there. There's pop in there. There's so many different things. How do you go from this dry book about a founding father that it was nearly forgotten and turn it into this amazing show like that?
Yeah.
I think that. Melissa, thank you. Melissa doesn't have a question here, but she just said, she just wanted to thank you for all you do for your listeners. You're always a bright spot in my day. Thank you, Melissa.
That means a lot.
That is very kind of you to say. Really appreciate that. And yes, please get the kids to bed.
Yes.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
We'll be wrapping up pretty soon. Anyways.
Yeah, we've only got about 15 minutes left here.
Yeah. So I got another question here from Sue. She said, you're on a date night at Walt Disney World. What is your chosen restaurant and what are you ordering, including the drinks?
Oh, for date night, it's is you're first on this one.
Oh, am I first on this one? Okay. So this one, obviously, love to go to Victoria and Albert.
Oh, well.
But that's probably unlikely. Topolino's Terrace at the Riviera is such a great date night location. For my entree, I would order their bouillabaisse. It's their fish stew, and I'm sure that is great. I think I've had their scallops there and love them, but I think I'd like to try this. And dessert, again, we don't usually order dessert, but looking at their dessert menu, the blueberry lemon cheesecake sounded amazing. It has a blueberry red wine reduction, sounds good, and lemon curd. I love lemon curd.
Yes, she does.
And lavender meringue. For drinks, they have the Kurt Russell Gogi Chardonnay.
Oh,
so I would be all over that.
Faves, yeah.
Kurt Russell is definitely somebody who is very, very much tied with Disney company. And if I had to have a cocktail, maybe going out on the terrace on the patio there, they have what would be a nice gin and tonic, the Marseille Spritz. So it has gin and Saint Germain elderflower liqueur and Mediterranean tonic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice choice. Nice choice. I agree with you. Topolino's would probably, if we're just going to go to a table service restaurant, probably Topolino's is my favorite. For an evening, excuse me. I like going to Skipper Canteen for lunch or whatever, but sorry, excuse me.
I know, I'm doing that too.
My voice is going. But if I'm going to go, I think if it was a date between us, just a date night for us.
Who else would you be on a date with?
That's a good question. Definitely nobody.
Whoops, blooper.
Edit.
This is why we don't do live shows. We get kooky.
Especially this late. I like going to lounges. Not really table service. I feel it's more casual. You can kind of, do some small plates or whatever. So maybe Top of the World Lounge, but I also like going to the Territory Lounge inside of the Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's I don't think it's the top of a lot of people's lists of lounges to go to, but we really enjoy it and really have a great time there. They have some great small plates, and I've already talked about the charcuterie board, one of our favorites. And I'm going to get a nice glass of wine. That's what I'm going to do. The fun date thing we do is we tend to go, and it's a date lunch, whatever, is to go to the Oasis pool at the Poly.
Yeah.
And we will go there and we will get our fish tacos and we will get our Voyager drink, which is basically a pina colada with Dole Whip in it and some blue curacao. And I know it seems silly, but it's kind of a tradition and almost a date time tradition for us. Like if we have some time during the day and can get into that pool at the Poly, that is probably something we are going to do frequently.
It's always to a good place that if things aren't clicking with the time frames of trying to get things done or get into, we go there and it kind of recenters us and says, all right, we're at Disney World. Doesn't matter.
And it's a cool vibe there. It's, they have some tables. It's just a pool bar and grill basically. But it's the quieter pool. So, so you can sometimes when it's not too loud there, you get the music. There's usually a nice little breeze going. The seating's in the shade, so the sun's not beating down on you too much on some of these hot days. It's just one of our favorites.
Yeah, it's I think the best pool bar at any of the resorts.
That is a lot. That is a big statement there. I won't go that far, but I will definitely say it's our favorite.
Sure. I mean, I think a lot of other, in terms of thinking of the food as well, some of the other pool bars have more your traditional like chicken nuggets and Caesar salad, which are fine, but if you want something different, this one has that.
Right. Yeah. So some of our favorite places. Do you have any more? Did you use up all the questions you got?
All the questions I have.
All right. Well, we have one more from Donna here. She says, "What is your favorite ride attraction in any Disney park?" Was this me first, or was it? Yeah, it's me first this time. Okay. My favorite attraction is Rise of the Resistance. As far as newer attractions, I love Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. I'm a Star Wars fan, as I mentioned earlier in the show, going back to 77. Star Wars fan. That is my favorite. Classic is Haunted Mansion. Doesn't matter if it's Magic Kingdom. Doesn't matter if it's Disneyland. I love Haunted Mansion. It's a must do for me.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like what would be like a favorite, because it's sometimes just very dependent on what I feel like doing or whatever, but definitely Rise. I pretty much always want to do that. It's just the cue. Do I want to do that? A lot of times I really like at Pandora. I like the attraction there. Oh, why am I blanking at what it's called?
Flight of Passage?
Yes, Flight of Passage. That one is pretty wild, but
I can't take Flight of Passage. I wish I could, but I enjoy it for the most part. And then it gets to a part where my nausea starts to kick in. My motion sickness starts to kick in. I like it. I think it's great. It's a fantastic attraction. It's just not one that I can do regularly, as much as I would probably love to do more. And there are many attractions that I would love to do more, but my motion sickness just kicks in on me.
Now, one that makes me laugh and giggle, and I don't know why, but every time I get on it, I just cannot control the laughter and giggle, is the Big Thunder Mountain.
Oh, you love Big Thunder Mountain.
I don't know why. I just start laughing and laughing, and it's
Is that nervous?
uncontrollable.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna die.
It's that
I looked at the goat.
Oh man, too funny, too funny.
Donna C, going back to her question, she suggested doing Jafar with Tim Curry. That's a great choice. I like that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I gotta circle back and think about that again.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of maybe Jason Segel. He's been in so many things, including How I Met Your Mother,
Right,
but
yeah.
then the Muppets and
Muppets,
doing recently he's been in Shrinking. I feel like he is dramatic. He's comedy and dramatic enough that he could pull off something, but I'm trying to figure out which villain he would be. Which villain could we put him in that place? You know who else I think would be great? And I just came to me now.
Maybe Hades.
He might be a good Hades. Catherine Hahn as Mother Gothel.
Yeah.
I think would be really, really
Yeah.
good. Okay, I
Yeah.
got mine.
There
Good.
you go.
Whew.
Bravo.
Catherine Hahn, for Agatha all along,
Yeah.
among many other things, I think would be a great Mother Gothel.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, do you think we should be doing the drawing or?
Oh, and also the other
Oh.
Donna had Martin Short as Dr. Facilier. That would be fun.
That would be.
Martin Short. I love that. Dr. Facilier. Interesting. All right, let's get to it. Let's do some drawings to see who's winning our prizes tonight. Thank you to everybody who sent us questions. Thank you to everybody who asked us questions. Thank you to everybody who just was here and watching. I know there were some of you that were just watching and didn't ask us any questions.
Thank you for not
coming
asking
along.
questions. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you for coming along. And I'm like I always like to say, just because this is our Ask Us Anything show and it's specific for questions, if you ever want to ask us a question, and it doesn't matter, it could be on any of these topics, feel free to send it to us and we can either read them on the air or we will, just if you just want to be anonymous or just keep it to yourself or have us answer to you, we'll do that too. So whatever you want. So go ahead, Michelle. Who's winning our prizes tonight?
Okay, so for the first prize, this is the Disney keys, and it has Steamboat Willie, Sorcerer's Mickey, and
is that Classic Mickey?
Yeah, Classic Mickey. It's the band from the band. It looks like.
Oh, from the band concert.
Band concert. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So the
somebody's winning that. That's a pretty cool prize right there.
Yeah.
Remember, if you get chosen here, please let us know. You can direct message us, whatever, how we should contact you.
Nicole.
Nicole. I don't know. That's family. I don't know if Nicole can win.
She can win.
No.
And she asked a question.
She asked us, who's your favorite family member? Nicole can't win. Pick out somebody else. Nicole, we love you, but your family, unfortunately, you can't win.
Well,
I apologize.
We'll give her here. We'll give you this Run Disney logbook that you can fill out and have some fun with that one. All right.
And she didn't ask a serious question either.
I guess. Marianne.
Oh, Marianne.
You're going to win the keys, the Mickey keys.
All right. So, Marianne, you get the keys. Very nice. Congratulations, Marianne.
Yeah.
What's our next prize?
Our next prize is cruise themed. It is an autograph book
Disney
with
Cruise
a pen,
Line autograph book
and lanyard.
Lanyard. Okay. Who's that going to?
Charles.
Charles. Charles, for the next time you're on a Disney cruise, hint, hint. I've been trying to get Charles on a Disney cruise, and how you got to do it. That's all there is to it.
All right.
All right.
So now
the big
grand
prize, the Figment statuette.
The Figment statuette at Epcot there.
This is the biggie.
Donna S.
Which one? Donna C?
No, not Donna C.
Donna
S, because I have Donna C after.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Donna
Donna Schonkweiler. I hope I said your name right. Donna, you won the Figment statuette.
Bravo. Yes.
Cool. So let us know. I think we might have your address somewhere, but let us know how to contact you so we can get you your prize. Marianne, same with you.
Yeah.
Charles, I know where you live. I know where you live. We'll get you your prize. He's in bed anyway. He's in bed anyway.
On May 3rd.
Yeah.
So we can deliver his
that's
prize.
right. We may be seeing him here in a few days. So everybody, thank you so much.
Yes.
I mean, really, really honest. We were nervous about this show going into it. We know we have a great listenership and we appreciate you so very much, but we never done a live show before. And we're like, what if we do this thing and nobody shows up? You know, especially for an Ask Us Anything show. So thank you for showing up.
Yeah, especially being the first one.
Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for all your thought-provoking questions. We really, really appreciate them.
Yeah. I echo Tom 100%. It's been really wonderful experience to interact with you all live. As Tom said, we were nervous but you all were very welcoming and being here with us, and we appreciate that so much.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we love doing this show. Yes, we do it because it's fun for us and it's date time for us. But we also do it for you, and you make it special, and you help us push to keep doing these shows. And we can't tell you how much we appreciate you. So thank you so much. Thank you for all your wonderful questions. And we can't wait for our 7th annual show a year from now. I know Michelle's already excited about it.
Oh yeah.
I think we will be doing some more live shows. I'm not going to say we're going to be doing live shows regularly, but I think maybe our anniversary show coming up here in June, maybe we'll do that one live, but we will be doing some more live shows because I hope you enjoyed it. And I think this was fun.
Yeah. And let us know if there's something, some way to make it better that you'd find it more interesting as well.
Yep, for sure. So going to sign off here for now for this. Now this show, just to let you know, it will be coming out as a normal podcast on Sunday. So if you want to re-listen to the audio version of it, and then we'll release the video for this. You're lucky enough you sat here with us, so you got to watch it now. Lucky is a term.
Yeah.
So we're going to put it on private for a while. So you had the chance to see it, and then it'll go live. So if you missed a portion of it, or if you want to rewatch it, it'll be on YouTube as well. Yeah. But just to let you know that we appreciate you so much, and I'm going to sign off for tonight. But everybody, please, like I always say every day on the morning show, keep sharing that kindness, keep sharing those smiles, and keep sharing that positivity. We love doing that with you, and we appreciate the positivity, the smiles, and the kindness you've shown back to us. Right, Michelle?
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being a part of our 6th annual Ask Us Anything show live. Really appreciate you. We will see you later. Everybody, have a fantastic night.